come in, sir? Yes, please. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, my name is Sonali Pattanaik.
Yes, sir.
You are from?
Sir, I am from Sambalpur.
Can you please tell us something about yourself?
Sir, I am Sonali Pattanaik. I am from Sambalpur and I have completed my matriculation from Raja High School, Sambalpur, and plus 2 from Vikas Junior College, Bargad. And then I started pursuing my BTech in Computer Science and Engineering, passed out from NIST, Barampur. And then I started doing my job in Dell International Services, Noida, as a software engineer. And I continued there for 1 year and 4 months. Then I resigned from my services to prepare for civil service exam. And this is my third attempt and first interview in UPSC. And my hobbies include carrying animal and these are
Ms. Sonali, as it is known, evident from your self that you belong to Sambalpur district.
Yes, sir.
So, why Sambalpur is in news during the freedom struggle of the country?
Yes, sir. Sir, as we know, Veer Surendra Sai, he was a very eminent freedom fighter and who took the reign of Sambalpur and tried to protect the reign from onslaught of the British because during it was in the year 1849 when British attempted to impose the doctrine of lapse and the ruler of the erstwhile Sambalpur, he was Ispulas. And it is at this juncture that his contribution is quite immense to Sambalpur. And he was accompanied by Madhusi, another tribal chieftain of Kond and Binjal tribes, and they just tried to protect it.
In which movement Surendra Sai played a very significant role?
Yes, sir, it is Kond and Binjal rebellion. Kond and Binjals are the tribal inhabitants of Sambalpur, and he was Veer Surendra Sai was also an inhabitant of Khinda provinces. Khinda is quite near to Sambalpur region.
Acha, in the national arena,
Yes, sir.
in which movement he participated?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is first order of independence, 1857, which we know as Sipai Mutiny. During that time, also Sambalpur's contribution and B. Surendra Sai contribution was quite significant.
So, you told that as the first war of independence.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, it is called First War of Independence because earlier the many tribal rebellion used to take place in India, but it was not like a full-scale rebellion, I think. And it was perhaps for the first time in 1857 that a tribal revolt, which originated in Meerut, they just wanted to dethrone the British government, and Bahadur Shah was reinstalled as a king and monarch of India. And, and it is B.D. Savarkar and also. In Odisha also, our government was trying to just highlight that the Paika rebellion of 1817 to declare it as a first war of independence because it was held quite prior to the 1857 movement. But so recently, one success also get because that particular movement find place in 8th class NCRT history books.
Do you think that
That's a good point.
1817 Paika Rebellion it is the first war of independence?
Uh,
Do you think it is proper?
Sir, I would say yes, it is proper, sir, because it was a kind of full-scale rebellions. Because in each and every regiment, each and every section of people participated in that revolt, bearing views. For example, we can say Punjab provinces.
But it was limited within Odisha or a particular district, Khordha rebellion, Paik rebellion. It was limited within the periphery of Odisha. But so far the Sipai Mutiny is concerned, the revolt, first war of India's independence, as you told, it spread to different parts of the country. The people from different parts they participated in the movement. It has got a national character.
Yes, sir.
But Paika rebellion, it has not got a national character. So how can you say that Paika rebellion was the first war of independence?
Sir, that is true, but in this region it created a kind of sensation among the people. And so, for the first time, when Odisha was under threat of British onslaught. So, at that time, the movement took a very vital role, I think.
Sonali,
Yes, sir.
what are your weaknesses?
Uh, Sir, despite many positive points, I think I have also a few weaknesses. For example, I'm quite simple and I trust people easily. And the second one is I'm quite gender neutral in my approach. Perhaps these are the few of the
How do
ways
you
that
think it
I
will
have.
help you in the administration?
Yes, sir. In administrations also, gender inclusivity and women empowerment. These are a kind of burning issues. Government is also actively integrating in its policies to include women in every sector of administrations. So, if to be a good and successful administrator, I think gender inclusivity and gender neutrality is quite important, which we also see in SDG 5, the sustainable development goals, right? And in also rural level, in regional level, we have under two coalition also to practicalize the aim of SDG 5, which is necessarily reflect the idea of gender equality.
Can you make us understand as far as the Odisha state is concerned,
Yes.
and you have also mentioned related to the gender
Mhm.
equality. What is your opinion on the status of gender equality in Odisha, and what are the steps taken by government to assist or to assess the progress of gender equality and achieving it?
Yes, sir. Odisha has tremendously made certain progress in gender equality and women empowerment. As we see, perhaps Odisha is the only state where a separate department called Mission Shakti Department to empower the women that has been created. And in Odisha also, we have 33% reservation in Panchayati Raj institutions to include women in political field. And these are the kind of inclusivity. And again, we have SSG groups to empower women financially and socially, and thereby ensuring their contribution to the workforce. Here are a few things that can
It has
take
also been
example.
observed in a couple of news that, for example, you mentioned about 33%.
Yes, sir.
If we talk about the Panchayat Raj institutions,
Yes,
then
sir.
we can see there are more women coming out of to become a sarpanch.
Yes, sir.
But however, it is also been noted in many of the news
Mhm.
articles that the husband of the sarpanch, the
Mhm.
woman, is the one who holds the power, and appointee of a sarpanch as a woman is just for the namesake.
Mhm.
What do you think about it?
Yes, sir, that's I think one of the lacunas. But right now it has been changed and it has been progressed. It has been solved a lot, I think, because yes, we find these scenarios in rural pockets, but it necessarily changed the landscape, I think, because women they have improved their exposure in administrations and in panchayati Raj elections and all. So though they are guided by their counterpart, but gradually they are integrating themselves into the workforce. So it is definitely it will bring tangible result one day.
I could see that there is a gap. You have worked more than a year,
Mm.
since 15 to 16.
Yes, sir.
And since 16, this is 2022.
Yes, sir.
Why there is a gap?
Yes, sir. The day when I resigned from my services, since then I have been preparing for civil service exam, both for OPSC and for UPSC. And parallelly taking both the exams side by side was one of the challenge for me because I belong to Sambalpur and there was no adequate guidance to pursue this kind of course, OAS or IAS. So there I think I faced certain challenges and the delayed is
Don't you regret that already you are a software engineer?
yes, sir.
There is one of the very good company. Don't you regret that you could have done better as an engineer than waiting for almost 4 and 5 years, hoping for a chance to get in the civil services?
Yes, sir, that's a good question. But when I was doing job in the corporate sector, I realized one thing. I was putting much more hard work and concerted effort towards research, development, innovation, and technological domain that we cannot deny upon. But the thing is that all my contributions was only directed towards a corporate goal and towards a corporate world. So I one day I realized that if I'll be putting the same quantity of effort in public domain, then I will be able to touch the life of millions of people, and thereby I will be able to bring changes in the systems. Because we know now the technology and research development is well integrated in policy action. We know in 5G that is technology can bring transformation in society. So I think there I can do.
Tell us top five technological aspect which are used in the governance to make it more efficient?
Yes, sir. In national level, as we know that use of artificial intelligence, face recognition technology, because in National Crime Record Bureau, as we know that there are looming threats of cyber crimes such as petty ransomware and Pegasus issues and BlackRock malware issues. These are the kind of they pose potential threat to the infrastructure of the nation's critical infrastructures. I mean, let us say the nuclear infrastructures and the strategic defense sector. So there, the role of face recognition technology, artificial intelligence, introduction of 5Gs, these roles are coming in nowadays. And
Would
in
you
also
say
Odisha governments are few applications I could recall, like GoSwift. GoSwift is a kind of technological platforms where Odisha government is actively promoting the ease of doing business index. This is a kind of one-step solutions so that company can operate in Odisha's business ecosystem without any hassle free.
and don't you think that it is a problem because face recognition is something which violates the right to privacy?
Yes, sir, because there are, yes, we know that right to privacy is a part and parcel of the fundamental right guaranteed by Article 21. Because in Puttuswamy judgment, this right to privacy was announced. But the thing is that whenever it creates certain challenges to the country, to the national securities, then certain exceptions can be applicable. I think.
Sorry.
Sonali, you have mentioned in your CIF that your, so far as your hobbies are concerned, caring for animals and environment.
Yes, sir.
So how this idea came to your mind? You have successfully nourished more than 35 orphan kittens
Yes, sir.
and other stray animals.
Yes, sir.
So how this idea came to you?
During my long years of preparations, I was doing quite. I was doing my job quite for long times, for 8 or 10 hour studies. So during that, one thought came to my mind: why not contributing sometimes for the environment, sometimes for the animals, because they do also a part of our ecosystem, and which necessarily facilitate us towards establishing a kind of balanced environment. And as we know that one health hygiene, integrating the environmental aspect and animals' health and human health, of course, into one domain. So I thought, and these are the stray animals who are the utmost neglected souls, and they silently suffer all the pain without raising any voice. So I do admit that, sir, there are a lot of schemes undertaken by the Odisha government, but in some time and in some scenario, they need a very urgent attention. For example, when they sustain some attacks, when they sustain some accidents, and these kind of scenarios. So what I did is I just rush out to them very immediately, and I provided the first aid treatment and provide safe habitat to them. Again, I reinstall them into the ecosystem when they get killed. These are.
Can you give us an example?
Yes, sir, definitely. Sir, as we know, there are a lot of human-animal habitat clash. These are undergoing in our societies because many stray animals they come to roadside and they face accidents. Recent case I can cite one example in Kerala, rabies and dog biting incidents. So these are the cases where animal attacks the human, and in retaliation also we see that human also attack animals. For example, there are also their right get violated in Jallikattu festivals that is prevalent in Tamil Nadu. So that was a quite very painful incident. Supreme Court also ruled out this kind of incidents that animal also do they have their own right. So these are a few instances. Provide.
Do you think that they understand your voice?
Yes,
The
sir.
animals?
I'm sorry, sir.
Or the animals or the kitten
Mhm.
which are nourished by you,
Yes, sir.
they could understand your voice.
Yes, sir. So these are the kind of body language. So there are no particular language to communicate with them, but they necessarily recognize my care and my nourishment towards them. Because whenever they feel insecurities, I provide safe habitat to them at my own home in separate areas. So they get well and they
required to become a good administrator?
Yes, sir. Sir, as we know, becoming bureaucracy is a kind of steel frames who implements all the government schemes and work at grassroots level. So definitely there are a requirement of lot of skill sets. Few I can provide certain examples such as honesty, integrity, and timeliness, and impartiality, and balanced of judgments, and a good crisis management, and risk-taking capability, of course. These are few, sir. I think.
Do you think that you possess all these qualities with you?
Yes, sir, few qualities I have. And the area where I'm lacking, I'm continuously trying to improve it.
So in which field you are capable of possessing these qualities?
Yes.
Which qualities do you possess?
Yes, sir. So I'm quite impartial in my judgment, and I always wanted to establish justice in the system. Because in bureaucracy, also we feel that certain peoples are prioritized at the expense of the rural poor, at the expense of someone who is not attached to proper priority. So these are the things I'll definitely work upon. Because attaching priority to everyone and fulfilling the aspiration of everyone is the duty of an administrator.
Can you cite an example of your life where you have shown utmost honesty?
Um, Sir, one thing I can definitely provide example upon, because when the day when I resigned from my services, it was a quite long period, 5 years. I pursued my goal, and in between, many people just told me, why not choose another goal or ambitions? Why only civil services? But I thought if I'll be joined in any other services, I may not get that kind of fulfillment within me. So I think that might be a kind of dishonesty towards the organizations, and might be dishonesty towards my own goal. So why not stay honest to the goal and ambitions that which I have? This is the few example.
So,
Sonali, you mentioned about the impartiality.
Yes, sir.
When we are in administrations, there are a lot of situations. I would say these are called as ethical dilemma.
Yes, sir.
For an instance, let's try to assume there is a situation. Um, a man who is working in a government department, somehow, for some reason, the man is died. So the pension, uh, the right person to get the pension is the wife.
Yes, sir.
But there has been a 20 years of delay in releasing the pension.
Yes.
Now the wife has taken assistant or has approached the High Court.
Yes.
And in High Court, the case is going on. What do you think about it? Is it a justice?
No, sir. We also popularly know that justice delayed is justice denied. So pension forms a part of one's own due. What one must receive after his retirement or after death. The nearest kin must get it on timely basis. But whenever any delay is noticed, it is a very painful thing. And these kind of issues must get resolved in a very speedy manner in order to effectively dispose the judgment to the particular person who is aggrieved. And here the role of judiciary comes in.
What do you think? What could have happened in these 20 years that the administrator who were supposed to expedite the process didn't do their work properly?
No, sir, I think there are also certain instances of corruption. And due to corruption and due to certain financial gain, they just load their money and they tend to neglect in their own work, which they must provide to the peoples. So I think corruption is one of the most painful thing in bureaucracies.
Now, as your hobby is also related to the environment.
Yes, sir.
Now, on one side we talk about the environment protection,
Yes.
climate change, environment protection. On the other hand, we also need development.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about this ethical dilemma?
Yes, sir, that's actually a crisis. But we are the people who can effectively overcomes this kind of crisis by drawing a quite balance between the ecology and the economy. Because in one way, we will have to score good in ease of doing business without compromising the environmental and ecological factor. Because environment and ecology have their own economical advantages as well that provides a lot of benefit to the human being and to the entire ecosystem. So both things must go hand in hand, ecology and economy, in my opinion.
There is a famous quote said by one political thinker: "The prince must be clever like a fox,
Yes.
strong like a lion."
Yes, sir.
Who said it, and what is the context?
Uh, so this is a criteria of a king, as rightly devised by Machiavelli. And Machiavelli expressed this that the king must be like a lion and like a fox. Means both quality must get subsumed in a good king and good administrator. Because whenever certain crisis situation comes, the administrator or the king must be capable of handling it, like lion, like the king. And fox means he must be cunning enough to identify the trap, to identify the loopholes and conspiracies. So both thing must be there in a king as as you due to the opinion of Machiavelli.
And one of the good qualities, sir asked you that you mentioned about the justice, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us that what is the justice system, or can you give us one or two or three points during the time of Plato?
Yes, sir. Platonic Plato has accorded highest importance to the justice, and mm, sir, Plato's kind of justice. I'm sir unable to recall it. I'm sorry, I'll just look on it.
There is also there is a theory by Plato that is specifically related to the communism of family
Communism of family, yes, sir. Communism of family and properties.
properties,
Yes, sir.
where Plato has also mentioned that women are not supposed to be in the ruling part. Isn't it injustice to the women?
Yes, sir, because we also know that political experts like Plato also they came to raise above the gender barriers because it was a situation very long back and right now scenario has been drastically changed because communism of property and wife, the concept that he extended, and it is all because that if somebody will focus on communism of wife and property, then he can necessarily protect himself from any kind of disturbance or any kind of distractions that family causes. Because he rightly said that family can cause impediment to the progress because an administrator or a ruler must have the qualities to stay apart from family and again focusing entirely on the administration. So this is the highest kind of importance that he attached towards the job rather than the family and he perhaps neglected the some good aspect of families. Yes.
Okay. You studied political science. You also took option in sociology.
Yes, sir.
You are coming from engineering background.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, these are the kind of diversify. I just wanted to diversify my ideas on different fields. And when in computer science, though I have pursued my graduations, but in Odisha civil service there was no option for computer science to take as optionals. And as I had a very good interest in sociology and PSIR, I took both the subjects.
Who is your inspiration as far as the thinkers are concerned? Whom do you admire more?
So I admire MK Gandhi more.
Can you tell us one or two or three kind of philosophy of MK?
Yes, sir. Gandhi extended a huge many concepts such as peace, non-violence, and Gandhian concept of justice, Gandhian concept of Brahma Swaraj, and Gandhian concept of casteless and stateless society, of course. So these are though very difficult thing to practice in today's society, but it has a very defined values.
What are the recent conferences related to the environment and climate change?
Yes, we have COP26 Glasgow recently. And in Glasgow also, our India took a lot many goals
is growing, I would say, anger among the people
Yes, sir.
uh, because of what Pakistan is doing.
Yes, sir.
There are many instances that we have tried to tell Pakistan in a very softer way that they should, cease fire and they should not violate certain things. But however, they are not doing it. Do you think that Pakistan is an enemy state?
No, sir, I necessarily don't believe. Yes, there are a lot of skirmishes going on between the two nations, making their origin from partition to the today's time. But in diplomatic level, government of India is taking a lot of effort to breach the gulf between the two nations. For example, many ceasefire agreement has been signed between the two countries, and many kind of agreements, for example, Lahore declarations maybe, and a lot many other declarations and back channel diplomacies. Means keeping aside the government and keeping aside the diplomats, there are back channels also government is trying to work upon to merge the gulf between the nations.
Sonali, you have seen Odisha for the last 30 years or so. So, what is Odisha of your dream?
Yes, sir, I wanted to see Odisha in a very transformed way. For example, as a technocrat, I can definitely put more emphasis on a technologically empowered Odisha because in many rural pockets, many village areas, we see there are very low internet digital penetration in rural village levels. So that I think a very vibrant area for me. And the second one is Odisha, though doing very well in Niti Aayog SDG index, for example, climate compliance and life below water, coastal maintenance, blue flag certifications. These are the few achievements related to climate. But I think Odisha is slightly lagging in bringing the gender neutrality, gender equality. So that is the area I think Odisha need to attach priority with. And the second thing is in last 2 days also the school dropout rate. It is only 1.06% in lower level education, but in higher level education it is slightly high than that of the national average, which is 16. So that figure also need to come down as per my analysis because it necessarily contributes to the human development index. In human development indices also the school dropout rates and maternal mortality rates and health and well-being incomes and the standard of living. These are all indices that matters a lot. These are the few areas we can take in care.
My last two questions would be first, I mean, the way Karnataka has developed. Bangalore is one of the prominent city in terms of the tech, and Delhi is also coming. Noida is there, definitely. Mumbai is becoming, Hyderabad is there. Why not Bhubaneswar can become a tech? What are the problems do you think can be eradicated or can be resolved in order to bring or in order to attract the technology giants or the big tech companies to Bhubaneswar?
Yes, sir. In 1996 time period, when Bangalore city was quite vibrant in IT and technological domain, then of course Odisha and Bhubaneswar was the second choice for the technological domain. And it is perhaps in during that time that the many software giants such as Infosys and TCS, Capgemini, they established their industries over here. And right now, in order to solve this kind of crisis, government is actively working out in to bring progress in IT domain. For example, Odisha IT policy 2021, government has taken a target to reskill 10,000 white collar workers to just get appointment in engineering sectors. And additionally, 10,000 crores of revenue also Odisha is aiming to receive in coming 5 years. And yes, in IIT Bhubaneswar also I can cite another example. One supercomputer has been established that is that can process data in a very fast way, some petaflop speeds. So these are also also many advantages as well. So these are the kind of good steps that Odisha is taking.
Now, last question is that what are the problems faced by a civil servant? And if you face, how will you address it?
Yes, sir. Whenever any, we cannot deny upon that no problem will come during my work, because in some time we listen that there are few politicians, there are few unscrupulous elements, they are causing disturbance to the administrator. But I don't necessarily agree with this, because in our society, everyone is a stakeholder and everyone have their own opinion. So there must be a breathing space. There must be a good coordination among all the stakeholders, just to draw every balanced solution in that particular critical time. And understanding their requirement is, I think, the prima facie job of an administrator. First, we must try to redress what problem they face. Then we necessarily should act upon that rather than reacting very strongly. That behavior must be avoided, and I think.
You mentioned what should be done. My question is what you will do.
Sir, I will also, if I will be in that position, I will just try to know that what problem did they have, why they are so much ill, and why they are facing issues, and I will try to redress their problem as early as possible. So this will be my course of action, sir.
Thank you, Sonali. Mock is over.
Yes, sir.
Give us 2 minutes. We'll discuss among both of us. We'll give you feedback. You
Yes,
can wait
definitely.
outside. We'll call you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
How was your interview?
Sir, I might not be the exact person to judge myself.
So what do you think about yourself? How have you performed?
It was good, sir, but a few questions I could have answered well. Such as, sir, in India, Pakistan issue, as you asked, I just forget to cite one example, such as India and Pakistan do share their stays in a certain forum, such as in Shanghai Cooperation Council, sir. These aspects I lose, I think, while speaking. And yes, Kartarpur corridor and Lahore Delhi bus services. Those example I forgot. Yes.
So, Sonali, the objective of the mock is to give you the feedback.
Yes.
And at the same time, when you go for OP, when is your OPC interview?
Sir, on dated 30th.
30th.
Yes.
So, in the OPSC interview, always remember they are not planning to test your knowledge.
Yes, sir.
It is all about how you present yourself.
Yes, sir.
If you have something, if you know something, how are you explaining?
Yes, sir.
So when you explain all, what we do is we carry ourselves. Right? When we talk something, we carry our emotions, we carry our attitude, we carry our feelings, we carry our point of view, opinion. It could be biased, could be unbiased. It depends on personalities. So that is the objective, is to judge whether you are the right person to be an administrator or not.
Yes, sir.
So they will always try to find out how you are reacting to the situation, what is your
Yes.
attitude towards the particular question. Right?
Yes, sir.
Great. So starting, you are aware related to the dress code. So we
Yes, sir. On that particular day, I will wear
Correct.
sari, handloom sari, Sambalpuri.
Alright.
That's the kind of GI ikat sari.
Alright.
So I'll wear that.
So be prepared for a few of the questions on that also.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Great. Sonali, we were discussing. I think your interview was very good. One of the very good, best ever we have seen so far.
Yes, sir.
You are coming from a very diverse background. You completed your engineering 2014. You also have a bit of work experience. Then since 2016, there is a gap.
Yes, sir.
And I also appreciate that you are able to handle the question,
Yes, sir.
because many of the times when it is asked that why there is a gap 4 years, it is better to give a reply in a constructive way.
Yes, sir.
We should not be too much of desperate, sir, I need a job. Is it? So that is a good way that you have handled the question well.
Yes, sir.
Your hobbies are excellent, I would say. You can expect a lot of questions on your hobbies,
Yes.
because environment you have mentioned, then animal protection also you have
yes.
mentioned. So
Animal
be
protection,
prepared
cruelty
for.
towards animals.
Yes.
Yes, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act
Correct.
1960.
Correct.
The act was brought out by Rukmini Devi Arun. It's consulted for.
Correct. Be prepared for the environment,
Yes.
ecology, climate change. Definitely there will be questions.
Okay, sir.
And hobbies, carrying animal protection related activities.
Yes, sir.
Definitely there will be questions. There is also recently I could give you an example in Assam, there is Kaziranga National Park, and there is a highway going within that national park.
Yes,
So
sir.
there is always there is a very beautiful article in The Hindu related to the man and elephant conflict.
Yes, sir.
So it is not only in Assam, in
In
southern
Chambaka,
districts,
in
yes,
Odisha
yes,
also,
in
we
Odisha also.
feel this.
You could expect a couple of questions on that.
Yes.
And how do you think it would be better managed as an administrator? What steps would you take to address these issues? All right,
Yes, sir.
that elephant corridor, because as far as the Odisha is concerned, the coastal areas, we have Vitarkanika, we have Gopalpur Sea Beach,
Yes.
the olive turtles,
Olive
turtles.
Yeah, Aribada Conservation.
Yes, yes. So these things you can expect. So be prepared on that.
Sir.
And political science, speech are optional. You have a little bit of kind of a crisps and policing is required, but I felt
Yes, sir.
you are able to give answer. However, a little bit of preciseness is required,
Yes, sir. Yes.
right?
That even I took fail.
Yeah. In terms of Plato, Machiavelli, who are the thinkers?
Yes, sir.
And when it is the question was related to Gandhi, what was his philosophy? You could have given 1, 2, 3, 4, like Sarvodaya is one,
Yes, sir.
non-violence is another, right? So and you could keep those seat and some example. Then you can expect few of the questions.
Yes, sir.
Always remember, you are the driver.
Yes, sir.
So you give a clue to the interviewer so that they can pick up and they can ask you something.
Yes, sir.
And do not enter into such certain domain where you might not be confident.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright. So I
So your answer, you will get the question.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
In IIT Guwahati you mentioned about a supercomputer.
Yes, sir.
So you should be familiar about what is the name of supercomputer.
Yes, sir. In Param Shivaya is
Yeah.
one of the first super.
So they can ask you again on that direction. Alright. Great. I think so far it is really nice that you have put yourself in a very diversified field.
Yes, sir.
Your background, your optionals. Be prepared as a priority. Be prepared with your hobbies. That's
Yes,
the
sir.
first priority.
Yes, sir.
Second, they will come down to your optionals because you are coming from engineering background.
Yes, sir.
Definitely there will be questions. How this political science, sociology will help you. Then you could tell about the administration, political science. You have talked about Western thinkers, Indian thinkers. What are the administration they have brought? Plato talked about the philosopher king.
Yes,
You
sir.
could give certain example of concept of philosopher king. Then you could talk about the Karl Marx and his concept of communism, how it is important today. Though the communism could not be achieved in a very practical way, but it is always a kind of
Its dimension
yes,
has been changed
yes,
to
yes. The
many
opposition, it could act as a resistance to the tyranny of the government. So there are a versatile kind of an example you can see. But always try to remember, limit and precise your answer. And yeah, great. OAS. OPS also you have given. You are
Yes, sir.
physically qualified.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have checked your.
So fuel fitness may be required by them.
Yes, yes. In
So
OPS,
I'll
they will
just take care of it.
just take care of the recommendations and what are the criteria of the physical fitness required.
Yes, sir.
And OAS, OPS, OFS, ORS.
So because computer science engineering are my past experiences, I'm also thinking I have a very good opportunity in cyber policing.
Correct, correct.
And also role of women is quite impacted
Yes.
in policing.
You could see those things if there could be any question
Yes.
related to the police and what will you do to talk about more women specific violence and how to address them. You could talk about the cyber because you are already having the expertise.
Yes, sir.
These are the so bring out your best. That is
Yes,
what the interview is all
definitely.
about. Okay.
Yes.
So bring out your best. What is your best is engineering is the best.
Yes, sir.
You have spent 4 years in the engineering.
Yes, sir.
You have spent 1 year, you have seen the corporate life.
Yes, sir.
So bring out the best. And best means how your studies and how your experience will be applicable in the administrations.
Yes, sir.
Always think from that point of view.
Okay, sir.
Right. It's great. I think opinion-based questions also you have done good.
Yes, sir.
And so far there is no major kind of an flag, I would say.
Okay, sir.
We were discussing that interview is more than average, and a little bit of policing related to optional I felt.
Yes.
Though it is not a major, but it could have been better.
Okay, sir.
Okay? Anything, sir? Okay. Thank you, Sonali. All the best.
All the best.
I think you will go through the interview.